Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. I decided to film in my car because I tried to shoot in this beautiful park outside, but like it's freezing and loud and I need sunlight, like real light, instead of having to set up everything because I have no energy to set up all my lights like I usually do. So yeah, this video I'm entitling something like where do I go from here, and I don't know what to do with my YouTube channel. It's all very health focused, which like I didn't want it focused on my health issues. Like I wanted it focused on wellness, and I guess I kind of realized I wasn't even doing that myself. So that's what this video is about. These past 2 years, I've increasingly struggled with my anxiety to the point where it's just made me feel like I want to end my life. Like it's been really, really bad. And that started like pre-COVID, but I realized that a lot of it has to do with seeing doctors and with just medical treatments and doing tests and all that kind of stuff. I actually used to have a channel 10 years ago on YouTube, before YouTube was like really a thing. I had a cooking show on veganism, and this was before veganism was like cool or like accepted or in, or like there was a lot of veggie dogs and stuff like that. There have been times in my life where I needed to take drastic measures to overhaul my life because it was just going in a really bad direction. And this right now is one of those times. When I was younger, when I was a kid, like elementary school age kid, I used to hate doctors. Like I would literally talk back to doctors. I remember my mom one time saying, "You can't talk to a doctor that way." Like she was really mad at the way I was talking to them because I generally felt they were full of shit. Like I was a very sick child, and I think, I had a family doctor who was like, "Here, just try this thing, like this drug, and then if that doesn't work," because I would say, "Well, what if it doesn't work?" And they would say, "Well, try this other drug." And I'm like, "Well, then you don't know. Like, you don't know what you're doing." So I think, and on top of like actually being sick all the time, that was definitely a problem. And as I say this, there goes my medication timer. By the time I was like 10, 11 years old, my stomach problems were like bad enough that I stopped eating fast food entirely, even though my family kept eating it. And when I was that age, I went vegetarian, and then I was vegetarian for 6 years, and then I went vegan for 11 years. So I went vegan when I was about 18, and I stopped being vegan when I was about 27 or so. And I stayed a really strict vegan because I have a lot of discipline around certain values that I have mixed with like the OCD. So I was pretty strict. Like people would ask me, "Do you ever cheat?" And I'm like, nope. And like I legit did not cheat. Like there was like I didn't need to. I didn't feel like my value aligned with it, so it didn't bother me. It wasn't just that I was vegan. Like I was very holistic, natural medicine, more on the intuitive side. When I grew up, my mom was very much into Reiki. She had me practice, Reiki, like go to classes for like psychic stuff. And I was very into that kind of stuff, like very new age. My mom was very new age. Yeah, I don't, it's funny. Like, it's just so weird now with how I feel about everything. Like, it's kind of weird how I grew up and how like I'm generally a very sensitive person, a very empathetic and compassionate person. So it's easy for me to feel like the medical world is overbearing, but I want to go into sort of like how I feel about the wellness community too now, because like I've seen a lot and I've been through a lot, and it's really like changed how I view that world. As time went on for me being vegan, I became more and more polarized in my thinking, and I became quite self-righteous, and I started to become a little anti-vax. Like this is when like people were starting to Google things, and like, I mean, it wasn't like it is now, but like there was information out there, and there was like vaccines are full of this, they're full of that, they're whatever. I don't think it was really like yet where it was all about autism. It was just more so like there were non-vegan ingredients in vaccines, and there were things like mercury and other stuff in it that like you shouldn't be taking. So there was some skepticism on my part about it, even though I'd had vaccines, but kind of like, the way that I grew up in not having good health, everything was just sort of like, well, it's all because of like the food I ate, the fast food and the vaccines and all the stuff. Do you know what I mean? Like that's what caused me to be sick. During this time, I shamed people who took medicine, and it just got worse over time. My parents took a lot of medication. They didn't eat well. They were overweight. They had a lot of health issues. I just took it as see, this is what happens to you when you don't treat your body right. You just need to treat your body right, and everything's going to be okay. You just need to eat well. You need to exercise. You need to stop taking all those medications, and you'll be fine. And during this time too, my list of medical conditions was slowly growing, but I was still in my 20s, and I was still in a good place. I felt like I, definitely a lot different from now. I definitely feel a lot worse now. I can feel the EDS taking me down a notch. I strongly considered becoming a naturopath or a holistic nutritional coach. I did volunteer Reiki charity days, and I was such a different person. Oh my goodness. I really was. I read a lot of books on the afterlife, and I as in a, near-death experience kind of stuff. My mom's really into that. And I dumped my family doctor that I had, and I had no family doctor for 4 years. And I had my stomach problems were pretty bad. I needed a specialist. I had a gastroenterologist, but I dumped my family doctor, so I didn't see any doctors for quite a while. By the end of it all, I was angry. I was iron deficient. I was weak. I was malnourished. I was very depressed. I was miserable, and so was everybody around me. Everybody was miserable. I didn't have a lot of friends left. I became really extreme in my thinking. And I had no idea that I had EDS or endometriosis. I had no idea at that time. I had no idea why this was. I was trying to treat the endometriosis with cramp bark tablets that I would make myself with non-gelatin capsules and powder, cramp bark powder from the store. And then I would fill these little capsules, with it, and just try to take that for my period. I had no idea how bad things were. I would be juicing all the time and eating, going on all sorts of different diets, a raw diet or microbiotic diet, just anything and everything. And I would see naturopaths and take loads of supplements. I took a lot of supplements, and I was very into okay, what do I really need as a vegan? What's the amount? How much a day? What do I really need from what plants? And I was very meticulous about that kind of thing. But I just couldn't absorb anything. Now I know, having been on the FODMAP diet and going back to eating vegetarian and then omnivorous, I now see, whoa, my gut can actually process stuff. It could not handle all those seeds and nuts and beans, and I was miserable. Wow, I was in so much pain and so bloated and so miserable. One day I decided to start eating meat again when I was about 26, 27. And I thought, okay, I'm going to go vegetarian first to try to feel better and try to get my health back on track to some degree. So I wasn't one day I'm going to start eating meat. I was just I'm going to start eating vegetarian. And then, later on I decided I think I want some meat. I felt like I wanted turkey. I don't know why. I just felt like that. And then I went for it. It took a long time. It was a very slow process, and I had to do a lot of exposure response therapy. For myself, that's what I did with myself, not a therapist. I had done that in the past before for other stuff. So I knew what to do, and I gradually started doing the exposure response with meat, tiny little fragments of meat that I would mix with food, and then slowly integrate it, incorporate it until I was eating full-size meals. It totally broke my whole identity open. I didn't know who I was anymore. I felt really ashamed, but at the same time, I was going in the right direction. It was a really weird experience, and it took me a long time to feel okay, and I still don't feel comfortable eating meat. I hate eating meat. I really don't. I've eaten a lot of it now over the years, and I don't enjoy it, but I've been able to build muscle way more, just build muscle. I could not do that when I was vegan. I would lift weights when I was vegan, but I couldn't get anywhere with it. But now I can. I haven't completely disregarded any kind of natural remedies. It's just like, if you bring me some snake oil, like, you know what I mean? Or if you tell me like this supplement is going to change everything, you know, I don't buy it. So the problem with having, you know, gone vegetarian and starting to change my way of thinking to less black and white, I lost myself again by aggressively pursuing the health issues that were starting to now make it impossible to work and to live my life. And I mean, that seems understandable, right? That you would do that. But then on the same token, I went the opposite direction and became just like obsessed with trying to find the solution and trying to find the answer. And that was reinforced by hitting the nail on the head with a couple of diagnoses, like the endometriosis and the EDS. Like when that happened, I was just like, see, like everything was wrong. And it was like, you know, that explained so much of what was happening. And it also helped me to understand that I wasn't doing anything wrong, you know, like whether I was eating vegan and downing supplements and, you know, drinking filtered water, or whether I was in the gym 6 to 7 days a week, lifting weight, following a really strict regimen, eating, you know, 90 grams of protein a day and like balanced macros, like, you know what I mean? None of it helped the way that, like, I was still unwell. And I realized when I got diagnosed with EDS that like, okay, I didn't do anything wrong. You know, although that's still kind of there in the back of my head, not nearly as much as it used to be. So when somebody approaches me with a, you know, have you tried this, or why don't you do this, or like, it can't hurt, like it can, it totally can. And I know what the I'm talking about, you know what I mean? Like I've been through a lot, and I know way better than you do about anything related to this topic. So in this pursuit of aggressively, you know, trying to figure out what was wrong, I had seen literally, it must be at least 100 doctors, because I mean, we're talking like ER doctors, specialists, walk-in clinics, GPs. It was everything. It was ones you could call up to come to your home, nurse hotlines. Like I've talked to a lot of healthcare practitioners and been through every single test imaginable that you could do for like anything. Like it's ridiculous. And I've had 4 GPs in the last 5 years and fired or been, you know, dumped by all of those ones in my quest to just like these answers aren't good enough. And the other thing is that I've spent huge amounts of time researching medical conditions and reading medical papers and on National Association websites and talking to hundreds of patients with everything from bone cancer to MS at this point. Like I just have looked at so many groups, been in so many groups, spent 8 hours a day sometimes in medical groups. So I've heard a lot of things and seen a lot of different perspectives from different people, and that consumed so much of my time that like to just lose track of like what I was doing in my whole life, like to just literally lose track of my life, like what I wanted out of my life. And, you know, throughout all of this, what I found was that the medical community was the same as the wellness, natural, holistic community. Like, all of them are full of shit. Like, like every single person, like, it's like, you know, stuff has helped me, like, from both. You know, I'll say, like, there have been medications that have helped and of course had their side effects, which like they all do, which I've realized like is a general risk, and that medicine is not saying that they don't have a risk. You know what I mean? Like they do, and you have to consider it. Both of them have helped. Like I've had sessions of like massage, or I want to say acupuncture, but that would be false because of small fiber neuropathy. But like, I'm just trying to think off the top of my head here, but there has been some natural stuff that has helped, as well as like, you know, like mindfulness meditation and massage, and my medications and certain procedures have like helped me. So like in conjunction, they've all been great, right? But the medical community is just as full of piece of ableists as the natural wellness community, which is also ripe with that. And I felt at the end of the day like I didn't fit into either. And that's kind of where I'm at right now, like exactly where I'm at right now. And where I feel like there needs to be some sort of sane voice of somebody who has lived it and knows and can tell you that, yeah, this is snake oil. And yes, this is, this is a dangerous drug to take. And these are the options. And this is what I do to live well. Do you know what I mean? Given that all the options seem hopeless, you know what I mean? Because it's not. The point is not what has worked for me, because that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to work for you. Your body's totally different. The point is that a balanced perspective is what is needed. When I go on social media in the disabled community, like when I'm there and I'm talking with other people with these kind of conditions and stuff like that, it just feels like I'm more at home. But there's kind of two things that happen. There's a focus on, this is my identity, this is the only thing that goes on in my life. I feel helpless and victimized. I don't want to throw that word around because I don't want people to take that wrong, but basically it's how I've been feeling for years, that this is all there is to my life, because it does consume you, because there is, a lot of it is like, I've lost my job, I've lost my ability to go to school, or it's very limited, and I've maybe even lost friends, and I just see doctors. That's a bad place to be. That is a warning sign that you need to, do what you can with your health and manage it, but you need to do other things outside of it, even if it's totally minor and small, because I see a lot of it on social media and it is not a good place. It's toxic in its own right. I'm not saying don't advocate, don't post about your story. That's important, because we need awareness. We need people to speak their truth about things and people to understand different people's perspective. That's not what I mean. I don't mean shut it down. I just mean you don't want to make it your whole identity. You want to make sure that it's integrated with other things that you're doing, which, is not what I've been doing, which is what I want to do. And then the other part of it is, which I think I've been guilty of, maybe on my Instagram especially, is maybe too much stoicism. Like, I've got to be cool and calm and work really hard and super disciplined all the time about my health, because again, that goes into that mentality of like, if you just work hard enough, everything's going to be fine and you're going to be better. Do you know what I mean? But that's not what I'm trying to get across, but maybe that's sometimes how I am. So my hope for this channel is to talk about, the disability issues without necessarily like a super hyper focus on like my health and like what's been going on and everything like that, or even my experience, but more so like general disability issues and advocating, and a balanced approach to how I'm living my life in terms of wellness overall. And maybe just how I do that, like how I am living with you guys, knowing that I deal with all these kind of things and knowing that I've seen both sides of it. And I also do, photography, I do modeling, and I do, video work. And I want to do more of that outside of, my YouTube. I want to do actual projects that I want to share. I don't know if that would be of interest to anybody, but, I kind of want to post those too. So like, maybe I'll just experiment a little bit. Maybe I'll start doing some cooking again and show you guys, like, I don't know, like, I just want to do something where I feel good about it. And it's not making me more anxious. It's not making me more upset. It's just me living a bit better and healthier. But like, this is an amazing outlet for me because I love video. So like, I love sharing things. I love teaching. I love making videos. I love editing. I just love the whole package of social media just because I'm visual and I love talking to people. So like, I don't want to give this up, and I want to, make friends here, and I want to make friends in Instagram and everything like that. Still, I just want to change things. So if you guys have any, suggestions for me on what you want to see or what you want me to talk about, even if it is related to like disability or health and stuff, do let me know. And if you feel like this is something that you totally understand or like just really relate to, let me know that too, because I don't know other people who kind of feel this way right now. Like, it would just be cool if somebody else were like, hey. And I hope to make a video soon also on my more in depth about my thoughts about like maybe the medical community and the wellness community, especially the wellness community right now with everything that's going on. So like, yeah, that's probably going to be a video soon. Anyways, thanks for watching. And I am so happy to see I've got a few more subscribers. That means the world to me. And just that people are watching my videos. I see what you guys are interested in. I am taking note. I see that. So maybe some more stuff like that in the future.